So I spoke nicely to that other old man with a grey beard and I got a Christmas present. Let's open it. There's just a big gaping hole here in front of the steering wheel. Right. Let's see now. Okay, universal sender unit. But this is what I'm after. Let's have a look. Rev counter. Speedometer. GPS module for the speedometer. No speedo cable required. And more. Well, this one is wrapped up very well. What does it say? Fuel level. Oil pressure. Oil temperature. And one more. Come to me. Water temperature. How awesome is that? Thank you, Father Christmas. I took out the original instrument panel. Rusty old thing, covered in red dust. Red Eastern Cape dust. So I've unscrewed the cluster. Look at the state of it, it's filthy, actually. But yeah, nothing is working here, or very little is working here. I don't have a speedo cable. I don't have the correct sender units for the temperature gauge and for the oil gauge, or for the fuel gauge for that matter. And then I thought, instead of now trying to find all the correct bits and pieces, I mean, I am building a custom ratty kind of a thing. I'm going to actually not use this at all. So I think I'm going to keep this though and fit something completely new and completely different. It's a freaking fancy box if nothing else. Let's see now. How do you get this from out of the box? There we go. Okay, and here in the back should be all the bits and pieces and sender units. There we are. Let's see what this speedometer looks like. If I can get the box open. Okay. Quite fit there. There we go. Quite nice. I hope it works as well as it looks. And some more hardware. So I've made a cardboard template that fits nicely in here. There we go. So my plan is to cut this from a piece of metal that can then fit in there. And to do the layout of my gauges here, I think I'm going to make templates for each gauge that I can put on here, and then just play around a little bit with the layout. So I'm just going to measure the diameter. How do you measure a dimension like 57 millimeters in inches? I mean, that's like what, 2 inches plus another 1/4 inch plus another tiny little bit. Is it a 32nd or a 64th? You guys in the States are fraction experts, I tell you. And then mark it on this piece of cardboard. And then I can cut it out. If I can find my scissors. So I would need to do 4 of these smaller ones because I've got 4 smaller gauges, and then I'll do the same for the 2 larger ones, and I think I'll paint them black, and then I can do the layout on my panel. 3 more. So these paper discs are going to represent my gauges, and I think I'm just going to spray them black quickly. Okay, let's play with the layout. So this line is the center line like so, and that line there is where the steering column sits. So I think it would make sense to me that the 2 large ones, the speedo and the rev counter, would sit something like that. I'm still deciding how far apart. And then the small ones, I don't think this is going to work, it's too tight. No, so I'm gonna probably have to do something like that. And then the last one goes there. And then I still have a little bit of space left here for a wiper switch. That's going to be my final layout. Got equal spacing between the gauges, and I've got some space left here. I can either use the original Ford wiper switch, space enough for it, or if I decide not to put it there, I can still fit 2 toggle switches here. We'll see. So I'm not going to cut this out on my template there, I'm just interested in the centers. So I have marked it out on this piece. I hope you can see those are the centers for the holes I have to cut. So I can put it onto my piece of plate, punch it there, etc. and then cut my holes. Got to cut my panel out of sheet metal. So I briefly considered aluminium or aluminum. Nah, too shiny, eh? It's not gonna fit my world. Piece of rusty old steel, that's more like it. I'm gonna cut it out of this piece of 1mm plate. It's not gonna fit like that. There we go. So I haven't got a hole saw this size, so I'm going to have to cut this hole the hard way. I don't want to use the plasma cutter because I like to keep the heat out of this piece of plate. I'm going to try the jigsaw, let's see how that goes. It worked better than I thought it would. Not what you would call a perfect round hole, is it? I'll just sort it out with a half round file. Okay, let's see if it fits. There we go. What do you think? I think it looks quite smart. So I've got a 2-inch hole saw, which means it'll be a lot quicker to make these other holes. Important thing here with this thin plate is slow speed on the drill and lots of lubrication. I'm gonna have to do some surgery to the old dash. What do you call this? Instrument panel insert. Yeah, it needs to be cut up. So yeah, I guess the purists will be choking on their tea if they see this. But then I suppose they've stopped watching my carrying ons in disgust a long time ago. So I'm just going to give this a wipe with linseed oil. Same with my new panel. So I'm going to keep that bare metal look. There's some nice patina going on in here, so I'm leaving that exactly as it is. And this is going to go in like that now. I'm going to give it a bit more of my oil. And I'm just going to screw it in place with my little self-tapper screws that I found in the box here. I don't know, I might want to use something different in the future, but this is what I've got right now. Okay, let's stick in some of those fancy new gauges, shall we? Rev counter. Speedometer. Okay, what have we got next? This is oil pressure, oil temperature, water temperature, and fuel level. How does it look? Look how fast I can go now. 220 kilometers an hour. Holy cow. I've got a whole heap of pretty boxes I need to throw away. Except of course there is no such thing as away. And yeah, when I see pretty packaging material like this, I always wonder what the cost of it is. Someone has to pay for it. And that someone is me. And now I've got to figure out the wiring in the back here. I've got the old Ford wiper switch here. I have no idea if it works. And I haven't got the faintest idea which wires go where. I'm gonna have to figure that out somehow. I've got a whole library of instructions to help me in my journey here. Some sender units and a black box called a GPS converter. What kind of sorcery is that? I think I'm just going to wire up the dashboard lights or the gauge lights while I've got this outside of the truck. At least that's easy to do. I don't like these type of connectors at all, the ones with this plastic on it. It's the only ones I can find in my part, but I modify them, I change it. You're supposed to crimp them with this really crappy old crimping tool that you get. I don't even have one of those. The problem for me is that it's not always a positive connection. Sometimes the wire pulls out and it's a possible source of corrosion. Hey, most of electrical problems is bad connections, especially bad earth connections. So I like to solder all my connections. So what I do is I pull this piece of plastic off with a sharp nose pliers, needle nose pliers, like so. Then I put it onto my wire and I just lightly nip it in place. And then I solder it. There we go, and now I know I've got a good connection. And then I slide over a little bit of this heat shrink. Just shrink it on with some heat using my lighter. And there we have it, a proper connection. It's not going to come undone. It's not going to be an issue with corrosion. I love it. And I solder all the connections when I do wiring on cars. Less problems, or less potential problems. The light circuit is wired up, so if I go stick these two wires onto a battery, they should work. Let's go and find out. Where's that positive wire? Ta-da! Ah, awesome. They're all working well. Looks pretty good. Let's do some more electricity. Each gauge must get a ground wire or a negative. And then also each gauge must get a switched positive supply. That will obviously come from the ignition switch. So let me do this wiring as well. Let me see what I can find in this crow's nest. Somewhere. Gonna be a black wire of the right size. And a red one maybe. I think I like this one. Oh, this one. So I've got the power supply to each gauge, as well as the ground wires or the negative wires. The GPS converter didn't come with any means in which to attach it. So I fashioned a holder of sorts out of a thin piece of aluminium plate, and that now holds it in place. Okay, engine cylinder selection. The cylinder select switch on the rear of the tach must be set prior to installation. Okay. Use your finger to slide the cylinder select switch. Okay, so where is the freaking switch? Here's a drawing. It must be inside that hole. Are you freaking serious? Am I supposed to get my finger in there? Who wrote this shit? Now let me see what's going on here. Okay, now way in there is a little switch. Need freaking good eyes and the tiniest of screwdrivers. I don't even think I can see properly. Okay, there. Seems to be on 4 cylinders now. 6, 8. Yeah, so I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and 9. Holy cow, so I've heard of a 1 cylinder, I've heard of a 2, I've heard of a 3 and a 4, and even a 5, already made a 5 cylinder, 6, yeah, 7 cylinder engine, never heard of such a thing, 9 cylinder engine, now where are these people coming from? So I've got 4 wires coming off this at the moment, 2 of them are grounds, this red one is light switch. It will switch on the dash lights, and then this blue one is switch ignition. It will activate the gauges. So I followed the translated Chinese instructions as best as I could. There's only one thing that remains now, and that's to connect it to the battery and see what happens. Did you know that each of these white things has got smoke inside of them? Even the wires, the smoke comes out, they don't work anymore. Okay, here it goes. I got my ground wires connected to negative. Let's see now. This is the light switch wire. So if I put positive here, yes, I've got lights. Very nice. Now let's give power to the gauges and see what happens. And connect. Hey, they're moving around and things are happening. Oh look, the speedometer's even got a readout there. Huh. Disconnect. I wonder why the oil pressure gauge went all the way to the top. Huh. Yeah, well, we'll have to see. At least there's no smoke. I got it sorted, man. I was just being stupid. If all else fails, read the instructions. Now I just connected the sender unit, and now it's sorted. Let me just put power again. Where's my positive? Here we go. And you'll see that it is now behaving as it should. Oh no, that's the wrong one. That's lights. That's the blue one. Come on. Just give it power here. And there you go. Look at that. Sweet. Yeah, so in all my excitement over my new gauges, I forgot about a charging light and an oil light. So I've got these just onto some double-sided tape. So I can try some layouts here. That's one option. I don't think I like it. That's possibly another option. Maybe down there. No. You know what, I actually don't like these lights on here at all. This is such a nice clean look. I suppose you could say I don't need an oil light. I've got oil temp and oil pressure. But I think I'm going to mount my two little lights on the bottom of the dash inside the truck here somewhere. I'm not going to put it on here. This is very nice for me as it is now. So let me go stick it in the truck so we can see what it looks like. Let's go try it. And this one here, I think it looks freaking awesome. I love it. I'm just actually sorry I put the wiper switch here. Sort of detracts a little bit for me from the smooth look. I might actually take it out and move it and put it down here. And then I can put those two warning lights down here as well. We'll see. But I love it. So I'm just going to sit here and admire my gauges for a while. But I think I'm going to call it a day. So thanks for staying with me. Appreciate it. I'll see you oaks next time. Have a good one.